All right, so I'll hand it over to you, Eva.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for this great introduction and your story, your personal story, because I would say this story is very similar to many of us. I'm very happy to be with you today. I think I have already met some people who are with me and you today because I've been working for BGRS for several years. So maybe that was the occasion I met some of you onboarding new adult and youth trainers. And I've been also working with some other companies. I'm very sorry for this Zoom projecting, but as Cheryl mentioned, okay, Zoom did some updates. So I'm sorry for this. I could not influence it, and I'm sometimes lost. That I will try to keep my voice. So as Cheryl mentioned, okay, youth training is my passion because originally I studied pedagogy at university and I've been working a lot in this field. Many of you know me as adult trainer. That's something we share together. So I would say I could understand you because being an adult trainer, I could compare the challenges between adult and youth trainings. And that was also the reason why I have offered this topic for our meeting today to share with you. And I'm very happy that I can provide some insights, and I hope you will find them interesting and useful. These insights are a bit connected also with my youth certification program. I'm sometimes joking that I'm fighting for the rights of youth trainers, by the way, by the companies as we cooperate with, because there are some companies and they really do not pay youth trainers well, but I think okay that youth trainers should be really paid well, okay, because we will talk about it. And there is a lot of challenges, okay, those who deliver youth trainings face. So I'm very happy that this position of youth trainer is really like being much more respected than it used to be in the past. And I'm very happy that I cooperate with some companies which provide this youth certification program to their youth trainers. But of course, everybody can take it okay, on their own. So if you would be interested, okay, now you have my contact and I will be pleased to share more. So let's go to some ideas I have prepared for you, but maybe at the beginning, let me mention that I love questions, probably as all of you. So feel free to interrupt me anytime. If you would like to ask something, comment something, you are definitely welcome. I hope, Cheryl, you can help me with some questions somewhere in chat, because Zoom is not today my friend. I'm sorry for it. That definitely I will be pleased to answer. So to open the topic, how to conduct cross-culture training for younger audiences, I would say that the first very important question here is, what mindset should a youth trainer have? Because I would say that's the question we discuss a lot. Oh, I'm really sorry for this Zoom. Cheryl, is it not very convenient for you when you're looking at me? Should I switch it rather off, or what would you propose?
I mean, for me, it looks fine. Yeah, now even better, actually.
I'm very sorry, I could not influence it.
It's not blinking anymore like it was a few minutes ago.
Okay, if it starts and it's not very pleasant, just tell me, I will switch it off. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, so let's go to my question. What mindset should a youth trainer have? So as I started to mention at the beginning, being an adult trainer and a youth trainer, I could see really some different challenges when I'm going to deliver training for adults, or when I'm going to deliver training for kids and teenagers, because behind these younger audiences, I would say that we can make two groups, like we should be aware of when we are talking about this training, and that's kids. Usually I'm talking about kids when we make an age group from 7 to 11. I would say 11, that's somewhere in between. And then from 12, I'm talking about teenagers, like sharing some ideas with you, and maybe when you will have chance to meet me during some other webinars, which are probably going to be released by some other companies. So that's the age groups I usually differentiate. And I would say that the first important thing, okay, to mention is that youth trainer should be really very, very flexible. Because definitely, sorry, everything okay? Okay, so what do I mean by flexible? Because youth training, it means really to deliver training for kids at the age of 8, then at the age of 10, then at the age of 12, 15, and so on. And I would say that there is really a big need to adapt training materials to all these different age groups. I would say when we deliver trainings to adults, we usually do like needs analysis. Of course, they are different, but still there is a lot in common. But definitely when we are talking about youth training, we should really ask the first crucial question, and that's what age the training participants are. Because I would say that's the first initial, the most important question. And based on EDK, we should set our goals and design also the training content. And we are coming to the second very important mindset feature, I would say, which youth trainers should have, and that's being creative. Because as I've told you, we have a lot of age groups, and you can have one training activity, but I would really recommend to adapt it to current needs and current age of your training participants, because it even happens that you have really an excellent training activity for a child at the age of 9. You had like 3 trainings and it worked very well, but then you have the first one and suddenly it does not work. Because that's exactly the mindset of training participants we work with. Children on one side are very honest. They are not like adults who are a bit diplomatic. So if they do not like something, they will tell you, maybe indirectly, maybe not. But you know, the kids, that's very simple. They go with you or they don't go with you. And really, we should be able really to be creative even on the spot of the training, and really to adapt it to the current circumstances. And I have heard from some colleagues when I do this onboarding, okay, and I mentioned that youth trainer has to be patient, they probably say that would be probably the most difficult, because I love some speed, okay, I love some really working arrangements, and you know, being patient, okay, that would be also a bit difficult for me. So that's also something we should be thinking about. And the last point I have included, but it's really very important, and I always highlight it for everybody who is thinking about conducting youth training, that we should be able to go down to the age group of our training participants. So it means that we are adults, I would say all of us who conduct these trainings, but definitely to be able to deliver youth trainings and to really to participate also, like during these training activities, and maybe even to help training participants to meet their goals and fulfill some activities, we should be able to go down to their age. And it also means that when we are preparing for these trainings, I would really recommend, okay, to have a look what's really like hot topic, maybe, like, you know, among teenagers, because, you know, teenagers, and I believe many of you are mothers, okay, you know it, okay, they have their own topics which are extremely important for them, but, you know, they are not important for us. But definitely they would like to discuss them, okay, because that's the training for them and not for us. So that was a short insight into mindset of a youth trainer, something I would really recommend to think about, okay, before conducting a youth training. Do we have any questions, Cheryl, regarding this slide, this topic?
Any questions from anyone? Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Or if you're unable to speak, you can put it in the chat window.
Yeah. Hi, Eva. I have a question. What is the objective for the training for a small audience, for toddlers or children from 5 to 8 to 10? Is it adaptation? Is knowledge? What is the how you around what objectives you build or you design your training?
Okay, thank you, Veronica, for this question. I would say that so far I have not met with the case that intercultural training would be given to children at the age of 5 or 6. What I really recommend is really to start with the age of 7. It could happen, that you have siblings, that you have a boy and maybe he is like 7-year-old, and there is brother, sister, and she or he is 5. And of course, when you are working with the 7-year-old boy, they are around and they would like to join. So yes. And I always say yes to parents if they ask me this question. But I would say you could not make any special goal for this child at the age of 5 because, we have to respect their age. And when you ask me this question, and I should just answer having this limited time, I would say that for these children, at first, it should be fun. That we should be thinking about. So it should be really fun, like to do something they will enjoy. They will do something with their hands because of their age. And then, we can go through several topics. So it means like to learn something about local culture at their level. And of course, to prepare them, like for adaptation process and so on. But at first, I would always say it should be fun for them because they are trainings which even take like, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are some companies which have this framework. And, definitely there should be fun, to keep them engaged and involved.
Thank you. Good question, Veronica. And do we have time for any others? If anyone has another question, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead. Nadia?
Hi, Eva. Yeah, I wanted to ask, could you give an example of something new that you have learned from kids or teenagers and used in your recent training, please?
Okay, interesting question. I always learn something, and I would say I will go down. Or we will come to my next slide. Final slide. And there you will see, that I always propose that when you are working with the kids or teenagers, you should always make something that makes sense for them. Because when you work with adults, they are highly motivated to be successful at work or maybe accompanying spouses. They would like to settle down smoothly with their family. But I can tell you that I usually teach a lot, I learn a lot from them about social media and different projects, they can do there. So that's also some umbrella project for my trainings, that when we study something about a new culture, a new country, our final outcome is that we make video together for like their friends, which they can send, so usually they make this video because I'm not the star, so it's their stuff, but that could be like one example I can mention, as the response to your question. Okay, but I think that maybe more questions will come, with the next slide, because we would like to invite you with Cheryl to break our rooms.
Yes.
And maybe discuss a bit, what are, in your opinion, the key challenges youth trainers should be aware of prior to conducting youth trainings. And I believe we will find a lot of topics to discuss.
All right, so I will start the breakout rooms now.
And also to respect their needs and their age, and of course, the attention span. So let me ask you, are there any other questions which appeared when you were discussing in breakout rooms, feel free to ask, because I would say that's the most important part of our meeting today. Any perceptions, any questions?
Actually, a question just came up for me. And it's around what permission, what do I need to get from the parents? Is there anything I need to think about in advance in terms of the parents and what could come up with hesitations, or I don't want my child on, I don't know. I just.
Thank you, Michelle, because definitely that's a very important point you have raised. When we are talking about youth trainings, parents play an important role, because it's especially the case when we are going to deliver the training for kids up to that age 12, 13, because at first, okay, you have a discussion with parents, like really to talk about their kids. And I always recommend it. You know, our clients are sometimes very, very busy, and it's quite difficult to schedule with them some pre-training call. And maybe when you deliver adult training, sometimes you would say, okay, you don't have time, okay, so we will discuss your needs at the beginning of the training day. But when you are going to deliver youth training, I really recommend you to insist on having this pre-training call with parents, because they can tell you a lot about their kids and about their mood. That's the first thing. We were talking about age, but then we have to think about also the mood of training participants, because, you know, to move to some new culture, it was usually decision of their parents. And when we are talking about kids, and especially teenagers, they are leaving their teenage world, so they are leaving their friends who are very important for them and so on. And I will be very honest with you, it could happen that you are going to do the training for teenagers who are angry, that they had to leave their friends and, you know, just change school and everything. Okay, so we should be aware of that kids could have these feelings, because, you know, when we trainers are coming and we are excited about everything, you know, in this country and to share with them, you know, we could be a bit crazy, sorry for this word, for these teenagers, because, you know, they are at the stage when they hate it, because definitely their friends are not with them and they are missing them. And for teenagers, friends are extremely important. I like advise that having this pre-training call, it's also important to ask in a polite way, of course, about some diseases children could have. Because just to give you one tip, one of favorite activities for kids is cooking. Very simple cooking in the middle of the day, because, you know, it's something active and they are learning and so on. But we have to take into account that they could have, okay, some limitations, you know, with some ingredients or something like this. So, you know, all this stuff is discussed during this pre-training call. Sorry to interrupt you.
Those are all really good points. Yeah, they might be gluten intolerant or something and be planned a cooking lesson, or they might be differently abled and not able to participate in the way we would want them to expect. So, okay, Nadia, you also have your hand up. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Eva, I wanted to ask you more of an organizational question, shall we say. So let's imagine you were commissioned cross-cultural training, both for parents and for children, and you had X amount of hours. How much time would you dedicate to the children?
Okay,
percentage-wise.
But there could be several alternatives, okay? That the question is if they should take it as a family together, if it's a condition.
As well. But yeah, would you do it together or would you do it separately, let's say, would be the first question. And the second question would be, if you were to train them separately, how much time would you dedicate to the children?
Okay, so here I would say that it's very important, once again, to come back at the beginning and talk about the age of the kids, because that's extremely important, and it should be like the main thing to decide how you are going to arrange your day. So I would say that if you should deliver training for teenagers, I would propose to have some hours together. You know, usually you do not have a big choice because the company will tell you you have 7 hours. So let's play with this, okay, that you have 7-hour training. So when I would have like teenager and he is at the age, let's say 15, 16, 17, okay, so that could be really the age that I would probably propose like 3 hours together as a family, because you can do a lot of introduction stuff to the country, to etiquette, you know, to geography, history, and so on. These are topics which you can really adapt, okay, that also teenagers at each age are involved, engaged. You can also do some quizzes and so on, so there is no problem. Because they are 15, 16, and 17, they would have specific teenage questions, which they would hesitate to ask, you know, with their parents sitting nearby, because they are always such questions, you know, something about topics teenagers discuss, even dating, and, you know, that's part also of the training. And therefore, I would probably offer like 2 separate hours for them, if there is a chance, and I can decide. And then I will offer like 2 separate hours for parents to discuss their question as a couple. If I would have kids at lower age, okay, so I would probably go longer, okay, for that part that we play together, because when you have the kids at the age of 10, I would probably not do like a common introduction to the culture together, but I would schedule like 3 hours of playing together, because, you know, there is a lot of games which even adults could play with their children, and children, they can work out some outcomes, you know, like story narration and so on for their parents. So maybe I would go like 3 hours together. Then I would allot some time, okay, like for kids having their individual session, and then also for parents to have their individual part.
Great questions. So are there any additional questions, or can we move on? Okay, looks like there's no more questions.
So I'm probably sharing with you, I hope, some summary of ideas which maybe appeared in some way, having your breakout discussion. So we have already discussed quite a lot, and I have heard this question, how to set goals of youth training. So based on what we have discussed so far, you could see that it's very important to think about the age of training participants, because definitely it determines everything. What kind of training activities you will use, whether you can do the training together with parents, and so on. Of course, then we have been talking about this communication with parents, because parents, on one side, they are even interested in learning more what you are going to do with their kids. And there is a lot of stuff, okay, you should introduce to them and tell them what's going to happen. I have heard a lot from you, like being in one of these breakout rooms, the questions, how to design training activities. And I really enjoyed hearing your comments that definitely these training activities should be interactive. You should have plenty of training activities, because like 20 minutes, that's maybe like really a time slot, okay, and then you should change something and go to some other training activity. But what maybe I would also highlight and recommend is to focus on some training activities when you can create an environment of trust and safety, and invite your training participants to talk about their emotions, what they like or even what they dislike, when I would use very simple vocabulary about moving. Because I can tell you, of course, after finishing my training, I do evaluation with them. And I can tell you, a lot. I have read in these evaluation forms that they are very thankful that we have also discussed things they don't like. Because many training activities, they especially focus on what you like. And we also trainers, we are excited to share what is good, what they can do, and so on. And maybe we do not touch so much their concerns, worries, and so on. So definitely that's an important part of emotional support we should be aware of. And that's also that part when we support training participants really a lot, and they are thankful for it. And usually during such sessions, I can tell you that kids ask questions you would never imagine they could ask. Maybe I can tell you that one of these questions was, could I be kidnapped in this city? Because a boy was moving from US, his parents, they were driving him all the time to the school, but they moved the kid to the Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. And it's very common that, like, you know, teenagers at the age of 15, they take a tram because his school was very closed. And he never asked such a question, having discussion with parents. And he was very happy to discuss it with me, being a youth trainer for him. So based on everything, I would say that one of the key questions for you is how to tailor training content and course to age and needs of training participants. Therefore, let me invite you to breakout rooms once again. And I have this case study for you that imagine that next week you should conduct the training for siblings at the age of 8, 13, and 15. I had a pre-training call with their mother, and she told me that Peter has a close relationship with John and Sam. You could see there is age gap. They enjoy doing a lot of things together. So how would you arrange 7-hour training day for them? What would you be thinking about? So let's discuss it in breakout rooms. What ideas will appear on your side?
All right, so I will now start the breakout rooms and see you in there.
Okay, thank you for your discussion in breakout rooms. Mine group was really very interesting and nice ideas. What ideas did you come to? Would you like sharing with us like some tips? How would you arrange such a training day?
Feel free to unmute yourself and share, please.
Any ideas or any questions? Okay, feel free.
My computer's not working very well, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we can.
I think one thing that came up in our group, and Manuela, maybe you want to share, is the family dynamics. Are also, you know, if the parents are more supportive of one child than the other, they maybe have a favorite child, or very often the family dynamics play into the training.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for that?
I would say that, you know, definitely being a trainer, I think you can in some way feel it, see it, and so on. So I would say you are like a manager of the training day, when should I say? So then you have, I would say, power, like to invite also all the other kids, like, you know, into training activity. I have to say that based on my experience, I have more trainings which are only for kids and teenagers on their own. It's not, there are some trainings for families, so it means that parents with kids, but up to now, I would say 80% of my trainings, they were only for kids, and parents did not participate.
Adrian, so Adrian was in my group. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, so if Eva's situation did not match, but it is something between having the fine feeling to get involved or to protect or to give more space for the child. You have the impression that it is neglected, and on the other side, we must be realistic that we cannot change have a terrible influence on the family construction, on the family system. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you are, Adrian, because I always say we are there only for one day.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's also the message we should be really aware of when we meet the kids, in the morning. Okay, so we should really try to build relationship with the kids, and really also I always say calm down a bit, because we have to really feel who our training participants are, but we have only one day. So that's also encouragement in some way, that some trainers are sometimes disappointed when the results are not so great. But I always say, you are there only for one day, so you can't change everything. You can help, you can contribute, but definitely you have family and so on, so they have some rituals and so on. You can only advise.
Great points. I think we have Pallavi with her hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I just quickly wanted to add something here. I was in the breakout room with Sabrina and Jasmina very rightly pointed out that, coming back to the assignment that you gave us, Eva, that all three of them, even if they're really close, they might have different needs and challenges. So while we're doing a session for them together, it'll be nice to have an individual time with each of them. So for example, you could, in that case, you could have, say, about 15-minute activity for the other two that they can work on together, and then sort of discuss it. While you're having that one-on-one time with each of them, there's a chance that they could have common concerns or common challenges that they're facing. Maybe they're getting bullied in their new school, So once you tap those common challenges, you can sit them down together and then sort of help them, give them strategies to cope with that challenge. That's something that we discussed. And another thing that just wanted to quickly add here was another way to connect really quickly with younger audiences as a youth trainer could be just dressing down a little bit, wearing a graphic t-shirt maybe, or so that they can connect with. I used to do that. It really worked for me. So maybe that's a little pro tip that I thought I could share based on my experience. And
definitely, yeah. Okay, that's really what I mentioned, that you go down to the age of your training participants, okay, because we are not their teachers. This is very important. Sometimes I'm even introduced that teacher Eva is coming. Yeah. And I always mention it to parents, please do not introduce me as a teacher.
Or auntie,
Exactly. I'm going, okay, to be their friend, sharing experience, okay. So that's another point, okay, to discuss it with parents, having your pre-training call, because to be honest, also parents, they are often lost what this training is going to be about, and they are very thankful for this session because they simply understand it. And thank you, Pallavi, for your idea. So maybe to say some proposal as the solution of this case study, if you have 3-hour training, because there are some companies and they offer only 3-hour training, okay, for teenagers, as you are having the siblings, it's great idea what you have mentioned, okay, that you are with all of them in one room, and you have one training activity, but definitely 80-year-old, he works on it in his own way. And then you have teenagers and they have a bit much more difficult challenges, okay, on their side. We were also discussing the second concept which happens, and that's 7-hour training, because that's also something framework some companies offer to their clients. And my recommendation in this case is feel free even to divide a training day into several sessions. That's also subject to discussion with parents. So it happened to me. I had such training as one of many, and I had a discussion with the mother. based on information she gave me in the morning. Okay, I had like 2-hour session with all of them, like doing activities they can do together. But definitely then I have told them that the rest of the day would be divided into separate session for teenagers and for this 8-year-old boy, and they were really working on their own topics. So the most important is that, you know, all of them are satisfied, and we have helped them to understand the key, and of course equip them with some skills and knowledge. And I always say that usually I meet with this approach that we should decide how the training day is going to be arranged.
What do you do with the kids? Do you let them alone, the other ones, or do you prolong the time? When you say that you separate?
I separate them. So it means when I had like 7 hours, so it was like 2 hours together. And then usually it's on Sunday, parents are at home, this training is conducted. So then I had like 2.5 with some teenagers, and the little boy was having his rest. And in the afternoon, I had the session with this 8-year-old boy.
Okay, so it was a break for one
Exactly.
of them.
And I would say it was good because, you know, also having 8-year-old, he having 8 years, his attention span, okay, you know, is not so big one. So that was my intention, to start with all of them in the morning. Then this 8-year-old boy, he had a break, and then we continued in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So because we are nearly like coming to the end of our session, let me only share some final tips, because Mona asked me, could you give us some example of training activities you do with kids or you do with teenagers? So I'm just sharing with you the slide. I hope you could see it, like draw the line of your life with me. So you could see discussing different topics like...
Eva, sorry to interrupt. Can you advance the slide?
Sorry, I should share it once again, because I could see it on my side that I'm sharing, that I'm probably not sharing. Okay.
There we go. Good.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Just tell me, Cheryl, because, you know, Zoom is today crazy. Okay. So, you know, here you could see some sample training activity I would recommend you, and it's making a poster with kids like up to the age of 11. So we discuss a lot of topics, but it's not that just having one page and, you know, you have questions and they should answer. It's the case, okay, that I usually have a lot of pictures. The kids usually draw their answers, and like the final outcome of training day is such a poster, as you could see. But of course, with teenagers, that would be not like fun for them. So I should come with something, you know, really tailored to their needs. And as you could see, the proposal for teenagers would be, for instance, mind map. They would be somewhere in the central bubble, and then, okay, we will go and they will put down their answers to my questions, designing their mind map. So that's another approach, which I have mentioned several times, okay, that you should be really aware of the age of training participants. And when I have told you that at the beginning of the training day, I would do like 2 hours together with all of them, for such a case, I would use like emotion cards. So when I would ask them, okay, how do you like Vienna? How do you like your first days here? So they could choose the pictures and really answer in their own way. It does not matter how old they are. So you can always find some training activities like they can do all. It does not matter how old they are. So we are coming slowly to the end. I just wanted to open this discussion because, as you could see, we could really spend quite a lot of time discussing all these aspects. That's really a rich topic, and there are many, many things. So I hope that we will maybe meet at some other occasion talking about this training. And if you are interested, as I have mentioned, I have my own certification program, which is conducted also in cooperation with some intercultural training providers. So if you are certified by me, they already accept it as a proof of your skills. So if you would like to learn more about it, feel free, okay, to write, email to me, and we can get in touch and I can share more about the content. But definitely the purpose of the certification program is to equip you, to provide you several training activities, which you can use directly during your training day, that because I would say that's sometimes the most difficult, that you need to design training activities, to collect them and so on. So this certification program takes you through all stages of use training, and also equips you with training activities you can use directly during your training day. So that was everything on my side I planned for you today. Feel free to ask any other question if we still have a bit of space, Cheryl. I don't know how it is with our time management.
Well, I'm okay to continue another 3 minutes or so. If anyone has questions, please feel free. If you're okay to go on for a few more minutes.
I'm okay. So if there is
Awesome.
anybody with some particular question, feel free to ask. Okay, probably we already discussed quite a lot of questions. Thank you for all of them. So I would say I was very happy to be today with you. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for this nice discussion and sharing your tips.
And thank you, Eva. This session was so rich with so much information about, the sensitivity to kids that I think, is the most difficult part and the essential part, like really deep empathy to kids on different levels, professionalism, organization, psychology. I mean, it was so full of so much good information. And it's a pity it's only an hour. I'm thinking we should make sessions 90 minutes because then we could have a little more time to get in the topics. So I think everyone would agree with me that this was a really, really great and useful and practical session today. And we really appreciate you sharing all this wealth of knowledge with us. It's amazing to know that you have your own certification program as well. That is fantastic. Like, I'm definitely going to promote that. If anyone asks me, and I might even consider doing your training, because yeah, I feel lost when it comes to teaching kids. And I don't do it often enough. If you do it regularly, you sort of get a system down and you get better at it, but if you don't do it often, then you don't get the, the ease that you have with other things you do more frequently. Like, I'm always training adults. So for me, it's like second nature. Kids is a whole enigma where I feel like I'm walking in the dark with my eyes closed, So anyway.
Thank you for sharing, Cheryl, because I would say, I could fully understand you, okay? Because, and that was the reason why this certification program was created. Because I've been collecting all these training activities really for more than 15 years, like, using during trainings and, checking how it works and so on, okay? And I could imagine, okay, that there is need for this training in your country. And you are thinking, should I take it? Shouldn't I? Okay, would it be difficult? And so on. So therefore, also the certification program is really practical, just to help you to have some training activities you can directly use.
That's great. So Eva, do you have a link or a brochure or some information that you could share with everyone, maybe on the news feed of the network, so that in case they want to look into it more, they can?
Yeah, definitely I will do it. I have a
Great.
leaflet to introduce the certification program, but you know, being a trainer, I enjoy talking to people. So if there is anybody just interested, okay, write me an email and we can have a short chat via Zoom. I hope it will work next time also with camera. And, you know, I can answer your questions. I love talking to people, so do not hesitate to do it. It's nothing that you should take my training, you know, just to talk and answer your questions.
Okay, that's good to know. We'll definitely keep that in mind. So thank you once again, Eva. Thank you to all the participants for all the breakout room discussions, all the very intelligent questions. And I think that's all for today. And we'll say goodbye now, but I wish all of you a good end of your week and weekend, and hope to see you in a future session.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot. Thank
Thank
you.
you so
All
much. Have a great
right.
day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Cheryl. Thanks, Eva.
And thank you, Eva.
Bye.